You need to make sure to make a clear announcement if fursuits are...
Hi everyone, my name is Stormi the Folf, and today I'm joined with my friend, the pun master, Schande.
Hi! Hey, it's Schande!
So, a while ago, I posted a video on how to meet local furries, and recently, a video on public fursuiting tips. I'll link to the videos up above my head, somewhere, I think maybe right here. They both contain great, essential-to-know information you should consider digesting if you intend on attending any kind of furry meetup. Now we're going to go over a few things we previously discussed, except I've got Schande to help me, who is an expert on all things furry meat related. He's also part of Emerald's First Summit Con staff, which is a FurCon in Pensacola, Florida you should consider going to, because I'm going to be there, and I'm totally not fooling myself by saying that.
Registration's open now, links in the description.
So, now that you've got a bunch of new fluffy friends, it's time to get together and hang out. Putting together a furry meetup is relatively easy. There are just a few bases you have to cover. Being a FurMeet host holds a lot of responsibility, but don't worry, Schande has plenty of experience with putting FurMeets together, so he's here today to help give me... Being a FurMeet host holds a lot of responsibility, but don't worry, Schande over here has plenty of experience with putting FurMeets together, so he's here today to help give some tips on this topic.
So the very first step in putting together a good FurMeet is deciding what kind of FurMeet you want it to be. Now, you can turn just about any kind of recreational activity into a FurMeet, whether it be movies, or a picnic, or go-karting, or a trip to the moon or something. Anything can be turned into a really fun FurMeet. The only limit is your imagination. And physics, because we can't alter time, or we can't, travel to the moon yet, but you get the idea.
So, the next step in this process is picking a venue. Once you decide what kind of event you want to have, you have to find a place to hold the event, obviously. For example, if you decide that you want to have a bowling event, then you'll need to scope out how many bowling alleys are in your surrounding area. It's advisable to take some time to visit the establishment in person to get the lay of the land. You'll want to make sure that the space is big enough for the number of people you want to accommodate.
And speaking of that, you want to be sure that you have a good idea of how many people are going to be attending the event before you commit to a venue. Attendance can range anywhere from 5 to 50 people or more. One of the biggest FurMeets that we had down in Pensacola had over 70 people attending. There are few things worse than not having enough space at a FurMeet. Not only could it pose a danger to fire code, but being packed together like sardines is less than desirable, especially if you're fursuiting.
Like this. If you could imagine being at a FurMeet like this, I mean, this looks like fun, but if everyone's hugging each other all the time, and there's nowhere to go, you're gonna get claustrophobic, and I'm gonna die.
If there are too many people in a small cramped area at once, things can get really hot, really fast. And which is really uncomfortable, especially if you're fursuiting.
I'm dying right now just doing this. Before holding an event, you will need to make sure that the establishment allows costumes, masks, and of course, fursuits. Now of course, fursuiting isn't required to have a fun FurMeet, but if your attendees are wanting to fursuit, then you need to make sure that the venue doesn't have any rules against it. The last thing you want is to be kicked out of the joint because they have a mask policy that you weren't aware of. The best thing to do would be to visit the venue ahead of time and request to speak with the manager. Show them a picture or two of a fursuit and see if they will allow them. If they don't allow fursuits, then you need to make sure that your attendees are very well aware that fursuits are not permitted on the premises.
There's more information about mask laws in Stormi's video about public fursuiting, the link to which is up above. The next step is you need to let everyone know that the event is happening, so you'll need to make an announcement about it. But before you do that, you want to make sure you have all of your ducks in a row.
Or potatoes, because potatoes are essential to my existence.
Anyway, set a solid date, time, and location for the event. You need to make sure to make a clear announcement if fursuits are... Make sure that you make a clear announcement on whether or not fursuits are permitted at the establishment. Now, if the event you're hosting requires payment, you need to make sure that you let everyone know that payment is required, as well as give them a ballpark price about how much the event's going to be. Once you draft a good tweet-sized announcement for your event, then you need to put that on blast everywhere you can. We're talking Twitter, Telegram, Amino, YouTube even, anything you can think of. Social media is your friend here. You also want to make sure that you make the announcement well in advance, because this will give your attendees the opportunity to request off of work or find a ride if they need it in order to attend.
Now, something you could do for your attendees, especially if you have fursuiters, is provide water and fans for your attendees. This isn't required, but it can be a common courtesy, especially if it's hot outside or inside the venue. Your attendees will really appreciate it. Trust me. I'm burning up right now and I wish I had some water. If you can't do it, let them know. If you can provide food, that's even better, but of course money doesn't grow on trees. If you're not bringing any, let the attendees know they'll have to bring and or pay for their own food.
Now, it is very, very important that you find a way to keep proper head counts of your attendees. This will help you get a feel on whether or not you'll have enough space for the event. It'll also help you determine how far in advance you need to make reservations if that's required, or how much, if it's a event you need to pay for, how much each person will have to pay with the evenly divided price. That totally made sense, right?
I think so.
Cool. Encouraging RSVPs will greatly help in this aspect. There are plenty of ways to keep track of RSVPs, such as a spreadsheet, websites like Eventbrite, or a Facebook event. However, personally, I think the best way to keep up with RSVPs is just to make a separate chat on Telegram for all the attendees. My best friend and fellow Open Coast admin Kaba introduced this method down in our local group in Pensacola, and it's the best way that we've been able to keep track of all of our attendees. And plus, doing that, it's a great way for all the attendees to interact with one another.
Now, probably one of the most important things to do is behave properly. You do not want to have your entire group removed from the property for misconduct. Aside from being extremely embarrassing, it's highly unlikely that the establishment will allow your group to come back. Be nice to each other, use basic common sense, and of course, make sure to follow all of the establishment's rules. You are their guests, so you need to make sure you treat the place with respect. Plus, you don't want all that hard work of putting the event together to go down the drain, do you? I hope not.
Do you? And finally, have fun!
At the end of the day, you all are just coming together to have a good time as a group. So make sure to enjoy the event to the fullest. And don't get down if something doesn't go as planned. Life is not perfect, and meetups as well as conventions are all prone to error.
Nothing will go perfectly as planned, but what defines a good FurMeet is that if something does go wrong, you roll with it and you make the best of it.
The important part is we try our best to make sure everything goes as planned, and should something fail, take charge and do what you can to resolve it. Also guys, I'm really sorry if there's some background noise going on. I forgot to turn off the air conditioner. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. Maybe leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on hosting FurMeets and furry conventions and so on.
We did another video over on my channel, the link of which is up above. A funny little video on how to interact with a poppy fur, because that's totally what Stormi is.
I hate that word. I hate that
poppy fur. You're a poppy fur.
Anyway guys, I really appreciate you all checking out this video. Like Schande said, we're doing another collab on his channel, so be sure to check it out. If it's not somewhere up here, I will link to it in the description below. Anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.